Well, we're only a couple days into February, but the weather is absolutely beautiful. Today it's about 50 degrees out here, going up to 65. I think it's a good day to head out into the national forest and go for a walk. Walking in the national forest isn't just like walking in a local park. It's big. I'm talking many, many thousands of acres big. There's a lot of wild animals, and who knows what you're going to run up against. So there's always a few things you need to take with you just to be safe out here. Even though it's 50 degrees, we're going to go ahead and bring a fleece in case we get cold. Some of the valleys that are dark, obviously the temperature could be lower. We obviously have our backpack. Backpack is what we're going to put all our stuff in. And then I have all our supplies broken into 3 different categories. I have a tripod for filming. This section here is for safety. We have a water bottle with about a quart of water or so. We have a little 9mm for protection. We have a little camp knife. I have the car keys. We've got to take those with us. Don't want to forget that. I have a little flashlight. Even though it's daytime, you never know what's going to happen out here. Took a little lighter in case we need to make a fire for any reason. We have a compass with a whistle and a little bit of cordage. You can never have enough stuff like that. The next category we're taking with us is stuff we're going to need for mining in case we find something we want to dig up. I brought a little shovel. We have our classifier and our gold pan in case we find our stream we want to go prospecting in. We have our mining loop so we can identify stuff, and all that is a little magnifying glass. We have some Ziploc bags to put some samples in. We have our little pickaxe in case we need to dig some rocks up, a shovel to get stuff out of the stream, and a metal detector. Next up, we're going to put all this stuff in the backpack and get ready to go for a hike. Okay, we are all loaded up. I got my backpack on. We're rocking hiking boots, shorts, and a shirt. Should be good enough. So the trail we're going to be hiking on today is called the Bartram Trail. It's a feeder trail that runs into the Appalachian Trail, about probably 10, 11 miles up the trail. We're not going to go that far. We're going to head up the ridge onto an area called Tremont Ridge, and there's an old Cherokee crystal mine up there. So let's go take a look at that. There are plenty of creeks and waterfalls along the way. We'll stop and enjoy the scenery. So it's just about 10 o'clock in the morning as we're getting started. Sun isn't up very high yet, but by 1 o'clock it's going to be pretty much straight overhead. So that'll be about the time we'll want to head back. You can tell the Bartram Trail, it's a yellow single bar, and the trail is pretty well marked. It's pretty much a well-traveled trail. In fact, I saw 2 cars in the parking area. So there's people out here in front of us. And for the first 4 or 5 miles, the elevation is growing quickly. In fact, I'm already winded. We're probably on about a 6-degree upslope as we're heading into this national forest. So the national forest is called Nantahala. I don't know what the word is, but I'm sure it has a Cherokee Indian background. If anybody knows, let me know. We just started our hike, but we're already about 100 feet above the little creek where we started. This is our first waterfall. We're at the base of it, and it goes up several hundred feet above, up to that ridge line. And I'm glad I brought the fleece because it's already cold down in these valleys. We're going to go ahead and hike up to the top of that ridge, see if we can get on top of the waterfall. We had a windstorm recently, and there's this big tree over the top of the trail. It was actually uprooted up the hill here. And this tree's got to be like, oh, I don't know, 30-inch diameter. And then it branches off. There's a big branch over this way. And it runs way on down the hill. You wouldn't want that thing to fall on you. All right, we actually turned off of the Bartram Trail, and we're following an old fire road. Looks like nobody's been through here in a while. And I think this is probably the easiest route to get to the top of the waterfall. So we'll keep walking on this for a while. Sure is nice out here. I think the elevation's starting to get to me. I hear the waterfall way down below us now. And this trail I'm following is getting more detrimental every minute. There's lots of trees down. A lot of crawling under things and over things. But it's really not too bad. Much better than just heading off through the woods. All right, I'm about an hour into the hike. I don't even think I'm halfway to the top of the ridge, but I do think we're on the top of the waterfall. We're crossing this little stream that comes down from the ridge, hits this little beaver dam, and then pretty much follows the bedrock all the way down and turns into the waterfall. Did I mention it's cold out here? Yeah. So I think since we've had quite a bit of rain, I'm gonna go ahead and set up camp right about here. And we're gonna do a little bit of gold mining, see if we can come up with anything. Trying to look for a spot where the gravel kind of banks up on one side. I'm not really seeing that. There's a whole bunch of this, I don't know if I can show it to you, this mica in the water, and it's super shiny, and I'm trying to get the sun on it just right. And when you're looking at it in the water, you'd almost think it's gold, but it's not. It's actually pretty flexible. If you kind of smash it between your fingers, it'll come apart. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. But when you look in the water, you see these little bright flakes. They almost look like broken glass, and some of them have kind of a gold color to them. But it's not gold. All right, let's unpack and start digging. These are the kind of spots I'm looking for. We have a whole bunch of rock outcropping coming over a fast-moving stream. It ends in a little pool with a heavy gravel bar here on the downhill side. So we're gonna do some checking underneath this rock. There's a little dig out there. We're gonna dig some of that out. And we're also gonna check this gravel bar at the bottom. All right, so we got our little spade. We're gonna take our metal detector, need our classifier, and our shovel. Now this little fold-up shovel, you gotta put it together. This takes a minute to get it all situated. Come on, shovel. We're gonna leave it in diggy mode. All right, cave area here. Well, that's interesting. Give that a shot. So what we ended up with is a whole thing of rocks here. Most of these rocks are pretty heavy. So we're going to turn on our metal detector. See if we have anything in here making noise. I don't hear anything. So we're going to throw out all the big rocks, because you're not going to find anything in those. And if we were thinking right, we would have put this in the classifier first. And that would have saved us a little bit of time. But we'll do that next time. All right, let's get down in the water. See if we can find anything. All we're going to do is shake this thing up a little bit. So we get all of our gravel out of the top. And slowly but surely we're trying to get all the big stuff out of the top, knowing that any heavy gold is going to go to the bottom. All right, here's what we ended up with. We have a little bit of sand in the bottom. I'm afraid there's going to be way too much mica in this soil for us to find anything, but we're going to give it a shot. If there's any gold in here, we should be able to swirl it around and make it jump to one side. Looks like it's mostly mica. Let me show you guys what we got here. So this is our pan. Now, there's really not any gold popping out on that leading edge, but there is a lot of sparkly stuff all throughout it. And I think all that's mica, so we're going to keep looking. All right, here's another pan of stuff. We're finding lots of heavy material, mostly these black sands and quite a bit of shiny mica, but I haven't seen anything that looks like gold yet. So we're going to put our stuff away and keep hiking up the river. Before we go, we're going to pull out the metal detector and just check everything, make sure. All right, so on these little ponds at the bottom of fast running water, we're going to run the metal detector, see if we can find anything that's beeping on us. Like there's something right there. You see the light on the top of the metal detector going crazy. It almost looks like it's an inclusion in this bedrock layer. Yeah, if there's something there, it's inside the rock. There's a quartz line running through this rock, so there could be something in there, but I think we're going to keep hiking. It's also a good idea before we get moving again to go ahead and hydrate. Even though it's cool out, you need water. It's worthwhile before you leave an area to look around really carefully, make sure you didn't forget anything, because when you get everything out of the backpack, sometimes something doesn't make it back in. All right, where we're at, there's two different trails. We can either keep heading up the waterfall river stream, or there's a place this way out here through the woods. It's a more direct line to the ridge, so I think we're going to do that. Looks like we have some more fallen trees up ahead. I think we're going to take a slight detour, go around all of this. All right, we've been walking for about another hour. Found another stream crossing with a game trail. You see where all these leaves are all chewed up. Down there by the water, there's a bunch of hoof prints. Let's see if we can get down here and take a look at it. We'll see what kind of game is coming through here. All right, so we got, looks like a little deer track right there. I don't see it, but they went up that ridge. Man, this is sure a pretty little spot. Little waterfalls, little pools. I think I even see a little trout in this stream. If we get hungry, we might have to catch one of those trout. Probably not. There are some interesting looking rocks here in this water. There's that guy right there. I don't know what it is, but it has a nice sheen to it. We're gonna pull out the metal detector and give it a shot. And keep in mind, while we're hiking and looking for gold, it's also about the journey. All right, well, we didn't find anything with the metal detector next to this game trail crossing, but we do know we're getting close to a major quartz deposit. You might say, DP Gladius, how do you know that? Well, look in the stream. There's lots of this quartz. I mean, lots of it. Everywhere you look, pieces of quartz. As you know, things flow downhill. So let's head further up this stream. So you do really need to be careful when you're walking around out here. Even though it's winter time, there's still hibernating animals, things like that. And if you get off the trail, everything starts looking the same. So, yeah. I think the trail's up there somewhere because we came down that hill to get to the stream. Let's head back up that way. And as I mentioned before, you got to be careful about every tree you walk around. Sometimes there are these hollow areas in them, like this. Being winter time, something probably lives in there. All right, it looks like we found the trail again. We are not lost in the forest like I thought we were. It's actually a pretty good little trail. Looks like an old forest road that hasn't been used in, probably at least 50 years. How do I think it's 50 years? Well, just based on the size of the little trees growing in the road. That's just a guess. We don't know. Some kind of bird is really upset at us. See if we can sneak up on him. Man, that ridge just keeps going up and up. But don't worry, we'll make it. Well, based on the angle of the sun and how tired I am, we're probably about 7 miles away from the house. And I would guess at least 1,000 feet higher. I can tell we're 1,000 feet higher because we're even with the ridge across from us. I'm watching a red-headed woodpecker across the ridge on a tree. We're about 400 feet above the stream running down here. There's this big old tree going across. If we want to go up that other ridge, that might be our easiest way to do it. I think we're going to think about that. We're not going to do that. I'm amazed at all the trees that are down out here. Most of them look like they've succumbed to some type of mudslide. You can see the root balls up here at the top and the trees coming down the hill. There's another one over here that crosses our path. A bunch of them down over here. So it could have been during that hurricane event that happened back in the summer. We don't know. So we're about another hour heading up to the ridge, and I found a spot where the stream separates into two different streams. One heads up the ridge where we're going, and the other one goes up this way. So it doesn't look like much, but this little waterfall and stream head further up the ridge where we're going. But if we look over here to the right, we see this spring bubbling down, and there's a bigger creek that goes to a waterfall up that way. I'm not sure which way we should go. I don't know. So I decided to keep following the main river up to the ridge that we decided from before. But this other little creek has lots of quartz in it. Here's a piece here I just pulled out of the bottom of the creek. There's a piece down there. Lots of quartz in here. So we're going to have to come chase this waterfall some other day. Sure is pretty out here. All right, I continued looking in this waterfall a little bit. Look at this piece of quartz. It's like super translucent all the way through. You can actually see the sunshine coming through. It's pretty amazing. But there's no gold in it. We're going to leave it here. We'll put it right next to this piece. So next time we come here, we'll know where to turn. One thing I've noticed walking through here, all the leaves from fall are still on the ground. And you got to be careful where you step. Sometimes you'll step in what looks like a pile of leaves and you'll sink about 2 or 3 feet. It's just like a stump hole or something with leaves in it. The rocks around here are changing. They're more the stratified bedrock. And there's a whole cliff face up there. I wonder if we should go up there and take a look real quick. Well, from back where we were standing, this looks like a large cliff face. It looks like it's just a piece of protruding bedrock, maybe about 8 foot high, and runs along the ridge here. Nothing very remarkable about it, but it is kind of cool. It's amazing how you make a decision to go look at something just a little bit off the trail, and then you get sidetracked with other interesting stuff just a little bit further off the trail, and before you know it, you have no idea where the trail is. But we are still next to a stream, so worst case, we could follow it back down. All right, don't worry, I think we found the trail again. If not, we found a trail. Pretty rough. I find it really interesting. We've been walking through a lot of hardwood trees with all the leaves on the ground. And now all of a sudden we turn into, well, let me show you. We have this little fern garden here on the ground. We have a bunch of evergreen trees. And all the way up this ridge, it turns more and more evergreen all the way up there. I may have hiked too far. I think we're in Tennessee. Well, we found another fork in the road here. This is the stream we've been following, so we've been coming up this way. The stream continues up that way and over here to the right. Not sure which one we should follow. So we'll just keep walking. So this latest little stream that we're following doesn't seem to have any quartz in it. So I think whatever mineral deposit we were chasing is probably following the other stream. Still a super pretty walk up to that ridge. The ridge looks like it might be about 2 miles away. But based on the sun that started out over here this morning, it's now over here. So we've been gone for about 3.5 to 4 hours. I think maybe we'll stop, have a water break, and maybe think about turning around and go back the other way. Still looking for that woodpecker. He's around here somewhere. Taking a little bit different route on the way home. Probably a little more direct, but not as easy to walk. So all the path is covered by these thorn bushes. I don't know if you can see it, but they grow out of the ground and they come up overhead height, but they're just full of these little bitty, well, they're not little bitty thorns. They're probably about 1/4 inch long, and they keep grabbing onto my legs. So that's not good. We'll just have to be more careful. So our more direct route seems to have come out on top of that granite ledge we saw before. We're standing right here, and there's the edge of that ledge. Now it doesn't look very far down. Right about here, it's probably 20 feet to the leaves below. Then we have the stream with the waterfall going down that way. So we have to find a safer route to get over there. Maybe we should have just followed the trail. All right, since we know about where we're at, we're going to take a break here. We've been hiking for about 5 hours. We're pretty sure we have about, just spilled my water. Pretty sure we have like 2.5 hours back to the trailhead. So yeah, we'll take a little bit of a break here, soak up the last little bit of vitamin D before the sun drops below that ridge line. Let me see if I can show you. So you can see the trees on the top of this ridge, and the sun is just above it, moving that way. So we have about 1 more hour before this whole valley is in the shade. It's not going to be dark, but it'll probably start getting cold. It's not an easy walk, but we're almost down below that ridge. Let me show you. All right, so this is the granite ridge. We're down underneath it now. And we were here early. Ow, more thorns. We were here earlier, so we kind of know where we're at. We're gonna cross this stream and head towards that next ridge over there. That looks easy. With all the fall leaves on the ground, super hard to see with your footing. Sometimes there's rocks like that. Sometimes there's holes. You just never know what you're going to step into. Getting down here by the stream should be a little bit easier walking once we get down here. Probably not. It's been pretty hard walking all the way. So why would it be easy now? It's been a great day to be outside though. It's still about 45 degrees. Even with the sun about to go behind the ridge. See if we can get across this water without getting our boots wet. Oh my goodness. We made it. Ooh, now we're in like a boggy spot. So it's a whole bunch of leaves, but you sink into the soil. Actually, you can see the water is still coming up through it here. I don't know how deep it is. Kind of sketchy. I don't really want to get my boots wet, but we're just going to run through here. Out, thorns. Look at these thorns. Those aren't any fun. All right. We made it to the boggy spot. Let's make some good time up to that next ridge before the sun disappears. Also, with the recent snow, all the soil is kind of puffy, where all the moisture is frozen out of it and then remelted. It kind of aerates the soil. So everything's a little spongy. Now we're traversing the side of a ridge here. We're not on the trail. Let's see if I can show you behind. Probably looks like a trail, but it's pretty steep. It's about, I don't know, 45 degrees down, 30 degrees down. And again, our footing is not great. There's rocks and limbs pretty much everywhere. Try to do the best we can. Oh, you know what? I know exactly where we're at now. We're on the other side of the ridge, the other side of the creek where this ridge is. So our hiking trail is that way. Let's see if we can get over there. So much debris and stuff. Whoa. Leaves are a little slippery, and it is pretty much straight down. Ooh, I can't even hold this with my footing. All right, I'll tell you where we're at. So we just came up the side of this ridge. Nothing up there. We've been following this creek here along the bottom, and we need to get up that ridge. So we have this tree going across the creek. Now, it doesn't look very high, but it's probably 20 feet off of the stream bed down there. Now, it's a big old tree, but it's a pretty far fall if we mess up. I don't think we're going to risk it just because we're all alone out here by ourselves. And that's kind of the definition of being alone, is you're by yourself. And if we happen to fall off this thing, I know for a certain we would get hurt because it's all rock in the bottom. So we're going to find another way across. We're continuing down this hill. And again, it's pretty much straight down. So our footing is in these deep leaves, and we're just sliding down this hill. At least it's pretty soft at the bottom, we think. Unfortunately, it's wet down here. We're in the creek bed. Let me show you this log we were planning on crossing. So we're down here in the creek bottom. And that's the tree above that we were thinking of crossing over. And it does go the right direction, but it looked super sketchy, so we didn't do it. All right, so now all we have to do is head up the other hill, which is just about as steep as the other hill, but we can do it. One thing to do when you're climbing a hill is always stop with a tree downhill from you. That's kind of a cool tree growing over the top of that rock. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but it looks pretty cool when you're here. All right, we're about 4 trees up from the creek bed and about 4 more until we get up to some mostly flat land. So let's keep going. From where I'm at, I have a rock to grab onto, 1 tree, 2 trees, 3 trees, and we're trying to get over there somewhere, which is about 30 feet above my head right now. We'll make it. Now I have the camera in front of my chest strap on my backpack so you can see what we're doing here. Oh my goodness. Grab a tree, get on the high side. Oh. There's another rock over there. See if we can aim for that. Oh, it's a little rock. We got a tree stump. Good enough. Oh, dead tree. Not good. Another stump. We made it. Hey, we made it up to some flat land. So that was kind of sketchy. This tree stump, a couple rocks, a tree, water. It's all downhill from here. All right, so we're about 6 hours into our hike. I think we're about an hour back to the trailhead, but the sun's dropping right behind that ridge behind me. And it's starting to get cold. I might put my fleece on. I think we're down to about 40 degrees right now. And the breeze is starting to blow. You might see it here on these laurel plants. Here's another big tree with a hollowed out section at the base. Looks like there's a fire inside that tree. Looks a little burnt. Big old tree. Look at that thing. And look at that blue sky. We should really go hiking more often. All right, so I know we're back on our side of the ridge. We just went over the top, and you can see the sun still here at the top. But as we start heading down, it's going to get dark because, well, the sun's on the other side. You can also tell all this mountain laurel here. This side of the mountain is wetter, shadier, and I guess because of that, we get all the mountain laurel over here. And on the other side, where we were a little while ago, we saw all the pine trees. We don't have a lot of pine trees over here. So let's keep at it. We're pretty much walking right along the ridge, getting ready to head down. Enjoy the last little bit of sunlight. So this is going to be our last sunny day for at least a couple weeks. They're calling for rain and snow later in the week. So I'm sure glad we got out here to take advantage of this. All right, we made it back to the Bartram Trail. You know how I know? That's the Bartram Trail marker. It's the single yellow bar. And I think we're about a half a mile to the trailhead. All right, this is the only spot of sunshine on this side of the ridge. It actually goes between 2 peaks behind us. But look at that waterfall. And the sun is peeking out right between these 2 ridges over here, left and right. I'm gonna sit here and warm up for a minute. About 40 degrees in the shade. But when you get in the sun, it feels like 43. So we're about a quarter mile to the trailhead. We've been following this creek bed, and it's kind of slow going. I don't know if you can see it here. Not much of a path to follow. I've been trying to stay in the sunshine, but this side of the creek is all in the shade because the sun is behind the ridge. And just occasionally, you can catch a glimpse of it coming up over the top. When you get those little glimpses of sunshine, you kind of stop here for a few minutes and warm up. Because when I'm in the shade, I can see my breath. So it's starting to get cold. But yeah, as I said, we're about a quarter mile to the trailhead, so let's get moving. All right, success. Our mini truck is right where we left it. We are worn out. And that's going to just about do it for me for the day. You guys get outside, do something fun, come back and tell me about it.